auspicious occasion of Gandhi Jayanti and Lal Bahadur Shastri Jayanti. And I really appreciate the sincere effort of the students who have organized this webinar almost independently. And I express my sincere regards to the guest of honor and speaker today who has agreed for sparing his precious time and guiding the students today. So I request sir to please have a dialogue with the students.
Can I start?
With your
Please,
permission,
sir.
with your permission, sir, I would like to introduce our participants with a small introduction of yours.
Yeah, please continue.
Thank you, sir. Let me introduce you all with the achievements accomplished by our guest speaker till date in a short format. Sir is currently working as Scientist G and is a director at the Technical Directorate of Director General of Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO. Sir has ample of records marking his excellence and knowledge. Few of them are as follows. He has been awarded with Agni Award for Excellence in Self-Reliance in 2001, Mr. Engineer in 2003 by Institution of Engineers, India, Pune chapter. DRDO has awarded him with Science Day Oration Award in 2003. Before joining DRDO, Dr. Shekhar has scored 99.57 percentile in GATE and has completed his doctoral research at COEP Pune under the guidance of Dr. Anil D. Sahasrabuddhe, who is currently the director of AICTE. Till date, Dr. Shekhar has credit of 136 technical research papers, 28 books on science and technology in English and Hindi, and many other technical reports and papers. Currently, he is coordinating with gamut of DRDO laboratories under Armament and Combat Engineering, cluster to synergistic indigenous defense product development. An immense pleasure for us to have a person with such an incredible academic as well as professional record. Now I will hand over the audience to Dr. Shekhar. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, can I share my screen, please?
Yes, sir, for sure.
Is it visible now?
No, sir. Yeah, now it is visible.
It's not visible to me now. Ah. ये क्या हो रहा है? Screen is visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Can I continue?
Yes, sir, sure.
Yeah, please. So I am really glad to address the students once again. Now this time I am addressing students of SSBT's College of Engineering and Technology, Bamburi, Jalgaon. And every time I am addressing to some of the students, I have some input from them, which are very useful for me to shape my lectures for the future students. I'm really glad to see that the count of number of participants has crossed 100. So really it is the commendable efforts by the organizers to have given this event such wide publicity. One of the factors may be that it is organized on a holiday on 2nd of October when we are celebrating the birth, and that too for 150 years of Mahatma Gandhi, and also the birth anniversary of our second Prime Minister, Lal Bahadur Shastri. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no connection with both the people and engineering, but they have always given right perspective and direction to the engineering development in our country. And I fully appreciate the concerns raised by the earlier occasions by these politicians to have brought the engineering sector to such a level that currently we are able to have several indigenous product development for the benefit of society. So today, my job is to introduce you to the defense sector and what type of career prospects are available in defense sectors after doing engineering. Since I am not given the limitations of engineering, what I am trying to do is I am covering engineering in general and then various defense sectors and the difference of defense sector with normal civil sector I will be explaining. And after that, I will be explaining a little bit about the various job opportunities that these defense sectors offers to the students, to the budding engineers for as a career. So let me start with various engineering disciplines that are generally relevant in today's world. Mechanical engineering, and there are always some offshoots where we are offering in various academic institutions, automobile engineering, production engineering, aerospace also I consider it as an offshoot of mechanical engineering, but there are certain institutes where aerospace engineering, aeronautical engineering are independently offered as one of the branches for engineering graduate students. There are electronics and electrical engineering, where electronic and telecommunication engineering, electrical and electronics engineering, and a whole gamut of various engineering degrees are awarded to various students. Civil engineering, which is now arranging this seminar, where structural engineering, bridge engineering, and there are all sorts of infrastructure development, which is culminating in civil engineering sector. Computers, once upon a time it was a hot cake. Now it is anyway. We are having information technology, software engineering, hardware engineering, and there are so many other types of sectors which encompasses computer engineering. There is something called chemical engineering, where polymer engineering, plant engineering, these all things are given. Then there are several other engineering sectors which is developing, where biotechnology, naval engineering, and there are so many dedicated engineering sectors which has been taught in various academic institutions. Now, once these engineering degrees are awarded to students, now they have to search for a career. Now, the career options after engineering can be searched in military. There are certain avenues where engineers are recruited in various military sectors. And especially, I am restricting myself to India because I hope I am addressing students from Indian engineering graduate, from Indian engineering sectors. There are opportunities in R&D sector also. There are entrepreneurs where you can start your own business if you have that type of inclination, or if you have a family business which you can join, and you can start a new startup also, for which government is now giving so much incentive. And there are, of course, some well set central and state government jobs which are generally awarded Then there is industry, where somebody else is putting up industry and you are going to join those industries. Large business houses are generally employing engineers. There is social service. There are also a lot of job opportunities and career options are available for engineers. Then there is consulting, that also some of the engineers like, and there they will do analysis and give some services to the manufacturing sector or to the development sector or to the designers. There is education sector. You can always join an academic institution as professor if you have that type of inclination to impart the knowledge gained during your engineering career to the next generation. There is marketing, there is sales, which engineering graduates are generally asked for. And there is always a software engineering sector, which is coming up in large way for recruiting engineering graduates. Now, if so many opportunities are available for engineers, what they will search for defense sector. But basically, before going to defense sector, let me try to find out, or let me try to narrate in simple language the difference between the civil sector or normal industrial sector and the defense sector. So let me give some parameters and then try to differentiate between civil and defense sector and why defense sector is different from civil sector. Ladies and gentlemen, please try to understand, as far as clothing is concerned, we have all color of clothing, all different varieties of clothing available for general population. It may be shirt, t-shirts, formals, casuals, and there are so many types of upper garments that is available. Lower side, we have Bermuda, half pant, full pant, and there are so many types of baggy, and so many things are there available with us. So many color combinations are available, but this is for the civil sector. When it goes to defense, whatever the rank may be, we have single color, and that too, same color dress is given to everyone in the defense sector. So this cloth development, and that too, please remember, this cloth is not simple cloth. It should have the camouflaging ability. It should have certain resistances against some radiation, some other weapons, and it should have capability to stop the bullet also. So some bulletproof jackets are also amongst the wish list of defense sector when they are developing it. As far as defense is concerned, in civil sector, we have aeroplane, helicopters, car, cycle, bike, scooter, auto rickshaw, van, jeep, truck, train, bus, boat, all sorts of conveyance are available. As far as defense is concerned, we have tanks, we have the armored vehicles, we have the protection, mainly the bulletproof vehicles which are there. And above all, we have the implements which is in the form of guns mounted on these vehicles. In addition to protection, there is some kill probability always available on the vehicles which are imparted to this defense sector. As far as contacts are concerned, we are accustomed to the phones and mobiles to contact our near and dears, and we are given some unique mobile numbers, unique landline numbers, and many a times we are having multiple mobile numbers. Generally tell that yes, this is what we. When it goes to defense, where no network connectivity is there, this type of system is available, where one person will be carrying the transmitter receiver system and one person is making the calls. Please remember, this system desired different type of development for the defense sector as such. And it is not normal communication. Please remember, this is always some secured communication which is generally promulgated in defense sector, where we have to understand that our enemy, even if they are interrupting our conversation, he will not be able to understand a word of it. So it is always coded language which they are using. I will come back to this language a little while. Let us say we have to see the various combats. What type of combat we generally face in society? Hello? What type of combat we are facing in general society? Whatever combat, what combat means, it is basically fight. What type of fights we are having in our general community? We have fight on our roads. somebody overtook us and we start fighting with it. We have regions to fight, and those all regions are diverted towards personal regions, I will say. They are communal in nature, they are regional in nature, they are religious in nature, they are political in nature, and these all type of combats have a personal touch in that. These all combats in civil society are for personal benefits. When it comes to defense sector, the implement with which they fight, it doesn't belong to the persons who are fighting. The cause for which they are fighting, that doesn't belong to their personal cause. They are fighting for the country, they are fighting for the peace inside the country, and these type of implements, which are very costly and cannot be afforded by a single person, those things are implemented in defense sector. So as far as combat is concerned, the defense sector is entirely different from civil society. As far as domain is concerned, the domain of action for civil society is either home, and last 3 to 4 months, we all are accustomed to work from home. So home becomes our office too. But in general, civil society dwells between home and office. Yes, some of the civil society members have marketing and sales responsibilities where they generally move around on roads a little more than the persons who have jobs concentrating upon the civil home and office system. As far as devices are concerned, we have these type of electronic gadgets for one type of civil society, and other type of civil society have devices where equipments are there, implements are there, plants and machineries are there, and they are playing with these devices all the time. But when it comes to defense sector, the domain and devices completely change, and they are unique in nature for the defense sector. As far as domain is concerned, at the same time, land, water, and air. And in addition to that, now space also is included in the domain of defense sector. And then when it comes to devices, it is aeroplane, it is some sonars, radars, and various types of kill mechanisms, jammers. So these all things are generally implemented in the defense sector as devices. Why I am telling these differences? Because when somebody is aiming for a defense sector, they must shift from the normal curriculum that they have seen or normal study that they have done. There is, I'll come back to the various domains of defense sector, then I will explain those domains where it is used. I told that I will come back to the language. We generally speak so many languages, but when it comes to defense sector, the language is code language, and any defense personnel of anywhere in the world, they will tell A for Alpha, B for Bravo, C for Charlie, D for Delta, E for Echo, and so on and so forth. So this type of code language is generally prevalent in our defense sector as such. As far as disturbances are concerned, again, we have agitation, we have strikes in our civil society, and on personal level, we have anxiety, stress, urgency, pressure, intensity, duress. So many of anxieties are generally enlisted. But any time have you thought of the defense sector as far as the disturbances they are facing? I'll quote that there are stress and strain due to prolonged deployment at border areas. Denial of leave and welfare problems are always there. So this defense sector also need some sort of psychological and medical assistance most of the time. So the marital, financial, health problem, there are so many other type of disturbances that this defense society faces, and for that also some solution is given by defense sector. And there also maybe engineers may not be of much use, but there are other streams of science and also arts which are helpful in helping defense sector. So in nutshell, what I want to tell is there are certain unique type of devices which are developed for defense sector, and this sector needs engineers to orient themselves towards developing what they have not studied. And a mechanical engineer, when it comes to defense sector, he no longer remains a mechanical engineer. he becomes a missile man. A person becomes a tank man. A person becomes an aircraft man. Like that, some nomenclatures are given. When somebody from civil sector is coming, he may become a launcher man. He may become a ground support system man. Like that, we are having nomenclatures in defense sector because the sector is entirely different, and the engineering streams from which the engineering graduates are taken in defense society, they got different type of products which are no longer heard or known to the civil society. Please remember this ASAT program. Civil society, no use of this particular system. Missiles, what type of, which civil society will use it? Aircraft, civil society uses it, but the flares which are shown here, which is used to protect the aircraft from incoming missiles, again, this thing is of no relevance to any civil society. This lifting of this truck or the gypsy, this is also not needed. The bridges, in civil society, we are having bridges and then tell that it is having 40 years of life. In defense sector, we are having temporary bridges, which is having hardly 1 week. Hello? Then we are having submarines, which is again not useful. And then we are having the bulletproof jacket that I have told while discussing the clothes, the first variation between civil and defense. So this bulletproof jacket is entirely new type of attire or clothing apparel that is used by defense sector, and that development also is to be done in some production unit. That development has to be done by some research unit, which will be dedicating itself towards developing a bulletproofness. Now, bulletproofness, I don't know which stream of engineering will deal with this, but yes, engineers are developing this and many sectors are using it. Now, as far as major domains in defense sectors are concerned, I presume or I assume that this defense sector can be classified under 9 heads. One is aeronautical engineers, where the flying objects are made. Now, these flying objects include aircrafts, unmanned aerial vehicles, and drones, and so on and so forth. Armament is another area where guns are made, pistols are made, mines are made, and that type of a smaller objects which are used for land battle are used. As far as combat vehicle is concerned, it may be tanks, it may be the armored vehicles, and so on and so forth. Computers, and this computer, mind you, it is different from the computer that we are using. These computers must have a high processing capabilities, and it should have some sort of security features, and cyber security becomes one of the major concerns in computers. As far as electronics are concerned, it is sonar, radar, electronic warfare, and so on and so forth, and communication, of course, that is one of the major requirement in the defense sector. As far as life sciences are concerned, the physiological, psychological studies, various type of high altitude gadgets, various type of food items which are to be ready to eat type of items which are to be developed, various types of boots, clothes, and other items which are used as for the good livelihood of the soldiers. Those are needed and developed by the life sciences group of defense sector. Then there is missile development activity, which is generally in news and it is always coming at the forefront. Modeling and simulation is altogether a different ball game in the defense sector. And of course, a naval system, which includes making ships, making various types of sonars, various types of torpedoes, and so on and so forth. So, as far as the defense sector is concerned, I presume that these 9 sectors, if we combine, we will get a very good idea about the defense sector, and then we can identify which sector can be a good starting point for us after getting an engineering degree. A brief of the various, some of the items that I would like to narrate, that let us say we are developing a naval vessels. Now, as far as various engineering systems are concerned, you can make out commercial and civil, around 57 part is contributed by commercial and civil sector, because for commercial application, for trade, international trade, sea-based system is very predominant. But as far as defense is concerned, it is not far behind. It is also contributing around 50% of the total expenditure which is taking place. And what type of activities are generally coming there? Basically, naval ship maintenance, repair, and overhaul is one of the major concerns in the defense sector, which engineers have to do. Now, which engineer will do? Again, this is a question mark. Now we have to orient ourselves after engineering to take up these type of responsibilities. Naval shipborne system, where they may be missile system, they may be aircraft launch system, or they may be other type of auxiliary components. And this is also one of the major contributor in the defense naval vessels. Naval ship fabrication structure and components. This is also contributing around 21.5% of the total expenditure or total investment on the defense. Touching upon the civil domain for the naval vessel as such. Let us look at the missile technology. As far as missile technology, a simple missile is having a missile seeker. Guidance electronics. Yes, definitely we need computers and graduates in computer, both hardware and software. We also need electronics. We also need various types of hardware support for this. We need certain type of materials development. So these all developments encompasses, and it is also a multidisciplinary task to develop a system like this. When it comes to warheads, again, the chemistry plays a major role. There is modeling and simulation, there is chemical engineering, there is mechanical engineering, and above all, the performance analysis of these warheads. That becomes a altogether different domain that engineers learn after joining a defense sector. As far as motors are concerned, whether flight or launch motors, it needs all types of engineers, including chemical engineer, mechanical engineer, production engineer, civil engineer, launch, electrical engineer, and of course, mathematics also. Thermal battery, again, a chemical engineer, mechanical engineer, and electrical engineer contributes tremendously in these domains. Now, let us look at slightly bigger system. Let us say an aircraft we have to make. We need aerospace, and this type of aerospace engineering encompasses various materials development, which may be a chemical engineer's job or it may be a mechanical engineer's job, various types of fuel, various type of technology for including the low observable. So still the technology we have to inculcate. There are various types of command control and other electronic requirements are there. And there is a multi-domain movement, low runway, short runway takeoff or coming down. Both the things are to be on shorter runways. And there are altogether, it should be a system of systems. So this becomes a major engineering marvel. And in fact, people feel that for aircrafts, civil engineers becomes one of the major requirements. Although it is not obvious, but yes, civil engineering people have contributed tremendously. Even in missile sector, all launchers, ground support vehicles, they are made by civil engineers. It's not that civil engineering means making buildings, bridges, and that's all. That is the definition for the civil society. As far as the sector is concerned, we need different type of terrain mapping. Who will do that? Civil engineers will do that. And that is also intelligence requirement. So this type of the multidisciplinary aspects of various known engineering disciplines is to be explored when we are coming to defense sector. Let me come back to the defense domain in India. We have two type of domains in general. One is Air Force in India, where Indian Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guards, various commands and all are there, which is forming the main sector for which all other sectors. Bottom side, I'm just showing some of. We have Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Bharat Electronics, Bharat Earth Movers Limited, Bharat Dynamics Limited. Some of this are generally coming for one region or the other for various types of products that they have developed in the recent past. As far as various defense sector industries are concerned, what they do. Bharat Dynamics Limited, yes, they are assembling ammunitions and missiles. And they are having employment to around 3,000 people. Out of these 3,000, even if 50% is engineer, we have a vacancy for around 1,500 people. And please remember, there is a continuous recruitment. And so Bharat Dynamics Limited is one of the area where engineers can be employed. Bharat Electronics Limited, they are into avionics. They are making electronic warfare systems. They are making communication systems. They are making radars, sonars, and there are all sorts of electronic development that they are doing. Again, you can make out such large, huge employment availability is there. Bharat Earth Movers Limited, they are making transport vehicle, dumpers, various types of other vehicles they are making, and they are into a very nice setup. There also employment is more. Defense Research and Development Organization, it is an R&D lab, and it is a cluster of lab. It is having more than 50 labs working on all the 9 domains that I have listed earlier. And by working on these domains, the employment level is very high because there are 50 labs located all over India, and various streams are generally employed. I will come back to the recent advertisements that these sectors have made, just to give you an idea that what type of engineers they are generally employing. There are certain shipbuilding or naval shipbuilding companies, so they are also employing. Hindustan Aeronautical Limited, they are making aerospace products. They have around 14 type of indigenously developed aircrafts to their credit. It includes Hindustan Jet Trainer, Indian Jet Trainer, Dornier, and there are so many types of aircrafts that they have made in-house, and there are 11 licensed production of aircrafts. So this is also having a major chunk of employment for the engineers. Mr. Dhatu Nigam Limited, they are making various type of metallurgy or various type of items which are useful for aerospace industry, for the missile industry, for the naval industry. I am again restricting myself while enlisting the factors to the defense sector only. Ordnance Factory Board, this is also one of the major recruiter, and there also we are having large chunk of engineers going. And Ordnance Factory Board also includes a cluster of 41 production units all over India, which are giving all sorts of production equipment, producing all sorts of equipments for the armed forces of India. So overall, if you look at the various employment levels, you will find that yes, we have very good opportunities for engineers in defense sector. And this is not all. I'll come back to defense sector definitions once again. But before that, I would like to say that the capital procurement for last 3 years by 3 services in India, if you look at the percentage wise, indigenous content is around 60%. The third column gives that percentage, around 60% indigenous content. And if this 60% indigenous content of the total capital procurement is from Indian industries, then definitely those industries are flourishing, and those industries are employing engineers. Without engineers, you cannot conceive industry as such. Yes. Now with this background, let me now come slightly focused on various types of defense sector. I feel that there are 3 types of defense, 3 definitions or 3 verticals of defense sector. One is government sector, that includes services, means the persons who are directly fighting, including Army, Navy, Air Force, Border Security Force, paramilitary forces, and there are so many other type of services which are having these type of responsibilities. Next is the research wing of government sector, which I have already told that it is Defense Research and Development Organization, which is employing a good chunk of, and it is having good chunk of engineers, and it is having more than 51 laboratories located all over India and working on all the 9 sectors which I have listed as domain of defense sector. And there are production unit where we are having Ordnance Factory Board, which is also employing a good chunk of around 84,000. That's what I showed. And it is having 41 units located all over India. But most of the units are located in Maharashtra. Out of these 41, 10 units are in Maharashtra. So we have a very good opportunities for production sector of production units of defense sector, which is located in government area. Then comes the public sector. In public sector, we are having certain defense public sector undertakings, which includes HAL, that is Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and we'll come back to this defense public sector undertakings. Then there are certain PSUs which are not dedicated to defense sector completely, but as an auxiliary work, they are doing certain things for the defense sector. And then there are certain conglomerates which includes some extensions of FICCI, DIMA, and so on and so forth. So that includes the public sector. Then there comes a private sector also, where there are certain core sectors which are dedicated to the defense related production. That is, for example, Premier Explosive Limited. They are dedicated to explosive development. Economic Explosive Limited. They are dedicated to explosive development or propellant development or those type of missile development like that they are taking up now. So they are core private sectors which can be included as defense sector. Then there are certain ancillaries, there are certain units which are auxiliary units or which are extending their original work. For example, Tata's, they have a vertical called defense sector. There is L&T, Ashoka Leyland. They are having some verticals which are working for defense sector as such. And there are certain spin-off benefits from the civil society which is taken by the defense sector. So with this type of 3x3, or generally I am always writing something in 3x3 matrix, so that 9 sectors are always there. Now, out of this 9 sector, let us say this private sector, not much organized. First 2 sectors, that is government sector and public sector, is completely organized sector, and they are employing engineers through well set advertisement in newspaper at given frequency and employment news also, and all leading dailies they are covering as such. I'll come to those research opportunities or those career opportunities in these areas. Let us have a quick look at various defense sectors in public and private domain. Hindustan Aeronautical Limited, I told they are making aircraft, helicopters, engines and their accessories. Bharat Electronics, they are making various electronic equipments which includes radar, sonars, electro-optics and other type of systems. It was established in 1954. It is having 9 units and all the systems they are making. Bharat Arts Mover Limited, they are making various heavy vehicles and re-engineering various solutions in automotive and aeronautical sector. This is also a mini Ratna. It has 9 manufacturing units and it has business with 58 countries internationally. There are certain ship making industries, which includes Majgaon Dockyard. These all are Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Limited, Goa Shipyard Limited. These all are making certain type of ships, Dorniers and other type of naval systems. The Bharat Dynamics Limited, located at Hyderabad, Amravati and so many places, and they are generally missile integrators, and they have developed certain items where indigenous content to the tune of around 90% they are telling is achieved for one of the missile systems, Comcourse M missile. And so this indigenous content, why I am highlighting, because once indigenous content is reached, means they are doing some in-house research and engineers have enough opportunity to diversify themselves in those areas. There is Mr. Dhatu Nikam Limited. They are making various types of materials for defense application. Then after this Mr. Dhatu Nigam Limited, whatever these 5 firms I have enlisted, defense is not their core bread and butter, but these private industries have verticals in their organizations to support the defense sector. Tata Advanced Systems Limited, they are giving some solutions for the armor, vehicle armor, personal armor and special application. L&T, they are also having some vertical supporting the defense sector. Kirloskar Brothers, Mahindra Defense, Ashoka Leyland, these all industries are supporting defense sector and they are well listed as one of the defense companies. Friends, let me come back to the strength of defense equipment in India, and it is observed that around 50% of the equipments are obsolescence, are facing obsolescence, they are old. 35% are matured and slowly moving towards obsolescence, and only 15% are state-of-the-art equipments. So what happens is we are having either obsolescence or matured equipments available with our armed forces. So we have opportunity to develop new equipment or to procure new equipment. Procurement, yes, it will take opportunities away from our engineers, but if we have to develop them in-house, yes, our engineers will have opportunities to do that. And this import embargo on 101 items recently promulgated by Government of India is towards indigenous development of these items by Indian industries. And with this option, there are opportunities for private sector. So in addition to development, the existing equipment has to be modernized, upgraded, and maintained. These opportunities for private sector will demand intake of engineers. So currently, the control of defense production is by this ordnance factory and 8 defense PSUs, but it is slowly opening up for the private sector also. And in today's newspaper, if you look at October 2, 2020, Defense Ministry signs contract for supply of multi-mode hand grenade to Army. What is great in that? Because this contract is signed with a private firm for supplying 10 lakhs multi-mode hand grenade to the tune and costing rupees 409 crores, which will be supplied in 2 years' time. And this is first time a private sector has bagged this opportunity. And slowly this import embargo will open up defense sector or all the industries, and definitely we will have opportunity for engineers to get employed in those areas. So the private sector, although we call it unorganized, but they are also now getting opportunities to venture into defense sector and supply items, and definitely they will be a major employer for engineers who are coming out after getting a degree. So let me now come back to the career prospects in defense public sector undertakings. For private sector, I am not definitely covering because that I'm leaving to engineers to explore these areas. Let us look at some of the recent job prospects which are offered by various defense public sector undertakings. Goa Shipyard Limited, they have given an advertisement for BTech in electrical and mechanical engineering. This is the 30 years of age, it was the upper age limit. Assistant manager safety was some designation they have given, and the wide band of money was there. That apprenticeship program of Goa Shipyard Limited, it is apprenticeship, short term, for freshers, 10,000 rupees stipend they are giving. This is not a regular employment, but you can make out all sorts of engineers are employed. So if apprenticeship they are giving, this indirectly says that they must be having all these engineers employed in that area. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, again, they are telling engineering graduate apprentice, and they are employing from all sectors which I have enlisted here. And these advertisements you can always see. And these career prospects are always available in Hindustan Aeronautics Limited also. Let me come back to government sector. Air Force, yes, it is having combined defense services exam, and it is conducted by UPSC twice a year for posting in flying branch. Age limit, unmarried man, and yes, the normal written test followed by personal interview and so on and so forth. There is another alternative where NCC Air Wing Senior Division C certificate holders can also come through this scheme. And if you are having, instead of Air Wing, Naval Wing, you can be employed in Naval also. So that also is one option. So through NCC also, employment in Air Force and Navy is possible. University entry scheme also exists for Air Force. So pre-final year students for technical branch they take, and it is training at AFA and AFTC Bangalore is conducted, and then they are employed as such. AFCAT is another exam which is for both men and women, and then posting is in flying, technical or ground, all three areas, and it is also conducted twice in a year. You have to search for these career prospects or opportunities. There are 4 options which Navy is giving in general. There is executive or hydrographic cadre, where any discipline of BTech and BE they are ready to take. Age limit is given. Another is IT. Again, BE Tech, IT is there, so it will be computer science and computer engineering. Another is technical general services. So there also we have marine, mechanical, aeronautical, production, metallurgy, all sorts of and allied discipline. Everything is included, in fact, in the technical general services branch of naval. For the submarine, submarine engineering is not taught. So again, they are taking all and they are taking final year of engineering students, and then after the course they are employed as permanent commission in army. So they are employing as chargeman. They are again PB2, that is pay band 2, age limit 27 years, and all sorts of mechanical, information technology, electrical, chemical, civil, metallurgy, all sorts of engineers are employed in the ordnance factory. Then graduate apprenticeship scheme is also there in ordnance factory. And please remember, this is one of the major, I will say, recruiter, because there are 41 ordnance factories located all over India. DRDO, yes, at present RSC advertisement number 137 is going, where 311 posts are advertised in various engineering schemes, and then they can be posted as scientist B in various one of the 51 labs of DRDO. So this is also one of the career prospects for the budding engineers in this sector. So friends, what I have given you is a brief idea about the defense sector, about the idea with which a defense sector an engineer should venture. And then I have given a brief idea of various types of defense sectors which is prevalent, including government, public and private sector, and various recent job advertisements which has come up. Friends, smallest entity for a war is a human being, and the future of human soldier is completely a Robocop type of system. But yes, it remains the mind of a human being, and it is augmented with all sorts of gadgets. And from your engineering skill, it is expected that you can explore various job opportunities in these areas as such. So it is left to the imagination of engineering graduates to find out the avenues, opportunities, and various areas in which they can employ their acquired knowledge of engineering, so as to make either integrated head protection, ballistic protection, modular personal weapon, the gun system, modular combat equipments, information technology, power energy grade, integrated clothing, boots, and so on and so forth. So for the smallest entity, we have so many domains which are to be augmented, and definitely a whole cluster of engineering graduates are needed to take up modernizing a soldier. If you have to modernize a tank, if you have to modernize a missile, if you have to modernize an aircraft, if you have to modernize a ship, if you have to modernize a torpedo, if you have to modernize an electronic warfare system, and so on and so forth, all type of equipments which are prevalent in defense sector, then yes, definitely job opportunities are there, career prospects are there in defense sector. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, I feel the career in defense is most respected, noblest, and indeed the most sacred profession. Thank you all, and I'm ready to have any questions on these aspects. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. If any questions regarding the same, please put it in the chat box, or you can unmute and ask to sir it.
Yeah, I am finding one question from Abhijit Biswas. As the tension at Ladakh has intensified, see, I am finding that this question, this Abhijit Biswas, I'm really surprised. The question which is asked is, I read in the newspaper that the Defense Ministry has deployed DRDO's Nirbhay missile along with the Rafale. T-90s. Could you please elaborate about this subsonic cruise missile? How can this missile have an impact at the high altitude war zone, and can it carry nuclear warhead? Yes, I can answer this question, but this question sounds that the person who is asking is fit to be a reporter, because the type of question which is posed, it is not coming from an engineer. It is coming from a journalist, which we are seeing blabbering over the media, over TV all the time. Any queries and questions, please put it in the chat box. Sir, for civil engineering, any opportunities in Navy? Yes, for civil engineering, opportunities are there, because in Navy, let us say submarine engineering. Now there, the water barrage is there. The submarine goes up, afloat, and comes down. So there is a water management system that is to be made. Who will make it? It is taught in civil engineering only, so they have to do it. Then there are certain structures which are made. Let us say the structure is of the form. Let us say some missiles is to be located there. Who will locate that missile? Who will do the analysis? And please remember, the stabilization of air, stabilization of ships, stabilizations of those type of barrages, they are really valid for civil engineering only, because those type of stabilization is not taught to any of the other engineers. So yes, civil engineers, they can go in Navy, and those type of opportunities also exists for Navy system. Sir, could you please explain the difference between DRDO, BARC, and ISRO? See, there are three strategic sectors as such in India. So as far as defense is concerned, DRDO is concentrating on items which are useful for the soldiers, which are used in warfare. BARC, they are making, it is Atomic Research Center, they are making nuclear energy devices, which includes the civil supply of energy, that is for the normal electrical supply systems, and they can also be used for defense sector. And ISRO is space research. They are making various type of Gaganyaan, Chandrayaan, various type of satellites. But please remember, although they are in three different, looking like three different organizations, one, DRDO is under Ministry of Defense, BARC is under Ministry of Atomic Energy Commission, or so on. ISRO is under Department of Space, but there is certain overlap over their duties. It is also imperative to know that they work hand in hand, although it being a slightly strategic in nature, we cannot straightway say that they are working together. But yes, there are projects which are running in these organizations parallelly. If BARC needs some explosive devices, they come to DRDO. If ISRO is, if some, let us say just now ASAT has taken place. Now it is a good amalgam of activities of ISRO and DRDO, because satellite is given, microsatellite is given by ISRO, and the kill mechanism is given by DRDO. Yes, and then it was a success. Same way, the nuclear blast which has taken place in 1974 and 1998, it was a good example of amalgam of activities of DRDO and BARC. So again, they are working in synergy, and yes, they are working together, but they are different, under different ministry. Thank you. Can you give contact number? Thank you, sir, for your guiding us here. Such a great information. I think that's all. In chat box, I'm not finding anything. Moderator, can you try something? Hello.
Yes, sir. There's another question in the chat box itself.
Yeah, please.
What is the criteria or
Yeah.
exams to be qualified by an engineer to get an opportunity in defense area? Please guide the path.
Yeah. The like, what is the criteria or exam to be qualified? See, all sectors are having different type of recruitment policies. Let us come back to these things one by one. DRDO, in the advertisement list, if you look at them again properly after that, rewind it and see. Under each, above each post, it is given that whether you need a GATE qualification or not. So only GATE qualified people are allowed for those that particular recruitment. And once GATE is there, after that also we are getting a very large number of applications. So again, written tests are conducted, personal interviews are conducted, and after that only recruitment takes place. Then ordnance factory, again, there also written tests are conducted, but there are certain exemptions as far as gate score is concerned. In DRDO also, there are certain dedicated posts where these things are exempted. Suppose you are having some higher degree, then you can directly go for scientist C or above level, and that time gate score is not needed. If you have some 2 to 3 years experience in industry or in research unit or in academic institutions, you can apply for scientist C directly, and then again gate qualification is not needed. And directly through personal interview, you can be recruited. As far as ordnance factory boards are concerned, there also we have various type of written tests followed by personal interview. As far as Army, Navy, Air Force is concerned, I have enlisted that if you are going for CDSE, then again it is conducted twice by UPSC. If you are going by university entrance scheme, then again Air Force will come to your university and then take up. There also written tests are conducted and followed by personal interview. So most of this, they are having personal interview and followed by personal interview. First written test followed by personal interview. Sir, are the oil-based PSUs like ONGC, GAIL, oil, are they connected somewhat with defense sector? No, they are not connected as such, except that they are giving fuel to tanks because tanks are running on diesel. They are giving fuel to, let us say, aircrafts. Yes, by that way it is connected. But as far as defense sector is concerned, directly we are not taking much from these oil sectors as such. So that's what I feel. They are not directly into that business, into the defense sector, because whatever I have enlisted, even private sectors, I have selected very carefully that these sectors who had some verticals, who are large business houses and they are having some verticals which are doing some of the defense production. So those things are I have included. Tata, they are having L&T, they are having Ashoka Leyland, they are having some defense vertical in their organization, which is exclusively looking after the development of defense systems in India.
Sir,
Yes.
Sir, there is one.
Yeah, please. Hello.
Sir, one participant wants to ask the question, sir. He wants to unmute.
Yeah, please tell.
Yes, Kedar,
Yeah, please.
just unmute and ask your question.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. It was pleasure
Yeah.
listening to you.
Yes,
Sir,
so
I had a
nice.
question. Sir, I had a question. Right now, Indian government had banned some imported weapons, and DRDO is developing indigenous weapons. So, can you
Yeah.
tell me what will be the role of? Is there any role for specific civil engineers there in developing defense weapons and all that?
You are asking about role of civil industries in those items, development of those items?
Yeah. Means what is the role there? What is the role of civil engineers there?
See, as far as defense equipments are concerned, there are, let us say, launchers for all missiles. I'll tell you with specific examples and pinpointed examples. Launchers for Agni, who will make it? It will be made by civil engineers. It is made by civil engineers at present. There are, and it's not for Agni alone, for Nag, for Akash, for Dhanush, for Shaurya, even for ASAT. Who is making those? All structural engineers, they are civil engineers basically. So as far as structural design is concerned, it is always by civil engineers who are taking up those jobs. All launchers, even for unmanned aerial vehicles, the launcher of Nishant is made by civil engineering group of, let us say, defense sector, some particular defense sector. And once it is developed, so both government sector or let us say DRDO has developed, or ordnance factory it is producing. Nowadays, it is transferred by import ban. The transfer of technology to the private sector is also taking place. I have given you the example of 2nd October 2020, the hand grenade example. It is given to the private sector. It is given for 409 crores to a private sector industry. Now, these type of developments are taking place, and now civil engineering, it is being used. See, in defense sector, there is something called surveillance. There is something called, let us say, terrain mapping, or let us say we have to know the troop movement of enemy. It looks like who will be doing it? Metrology. I don't know which stream metrology is taught. Meteorology. So mostly it is civil engineers who are taking up this responsibility of giving troop assignment data. There are troops located at Siachen who will give them avalanche data. It is again the civil engineers. Yes, certain specializations are there which are acquired after joining the organization. But for troop movement in Siachen area, who will do? The landslides, who will do? Because these all troops are located in those difficult terrains. So civil engineers are always helpful for all these sectors. See, that's what I am telling. The civil society feels that civil engineers mean somebody who is making bridges, buildings, and so on and so. One of the activity which is conducted by civil engineers in defense are mostly employed for making launchers and ground support vehicles for various applications. So in defense sector, the role of these engineers also change. So here civil engineers are very much prominent positions in DRDO also, in other defense sectors also. So civil engineers are given a front seat as far as, because other engineering disciplines have their front seats in other domains. In defense sector, probably civil engineering is given slightly upper role because of various type of ground support systems that they develop, including stationary and moving structures. Yes.
Sir, there are two questions from Ahir Tanay in the chat box.
Yeah.
Yes, can see.
That respective year of, no, whatever valid gate score is generally valid for 2 years. So if you are qualifying gate today, so in 2 years it will be valid. So that thing is valid for DRDO also. You should have a valid gate score at the time of sitting in the written text exam. That's all is the requirement. Valid gate score. That's all. Last one for me. Any preparation tips for gates? Yes, study your subject well. That's all I will say. Well, that's what I did, and somehow I got good marks. That's all I can say. Please study well, understand the subject, because as I have narrated clearly, that it is not your particular discipline which matters. Once you are joining defense sector, it becomes multidisciplinary. You are civil engineers, that doesn't mean you will not be employed for communication work. You will not be employed for a missile work. So there is no lifting your hands that I don't know this subject. So always be ready to take up new challenges once you are joining a defense sector. I hope I have answered you. Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, I guess we are completed with the question and answer session, sir. These were the only questions we were having. And well, your gate percentile is something everybody will raise bros on, sir. Really a very difficult task to score 99.57 percentile in gate examination.
No, it is all. See, they have to prepare well. That's all. Nothing like it's not that great. You have to prepare well. That's all. In third year, I appeared, I got 95. So, and final year when I appeared, it became 99. So it's natural. It will come. It's not that great. People achieve.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you once again for addressing all the participants with your incredible and knowledgeable words, sir. Well, I request Gauri now to give a vote of thanks on behalf of all the moderators and coordinator for this event. Gauri, if you can hear me, please. Over to you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Audible, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Gauri. You're audible.
Am I audible?
Hello, Gauri.
Yes, yes. Wait, my hello.
Yes, Gauri, you can start.
Okay, okay. So it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of everyone who made this event happen. Much. So was today's session, sir. You made us understand about the difference between the civil and defense sector with respect to clothing, connectivity, and much more. Also, we came to know about major domains in defense sector that is of them. Engineer naval missiles aircraft. You also stated a different organization their employment. You stated as government service and
Hello, Gauri.
Chauhan sir, our all-time guide Paul sir,
I guess there is some kind of network issue from your side.
because of you we came across. Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, Gauri, there is some kind
Hello.
of network issue from your side, I guess.
Hello.
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 Gauri, I guess there is some kind of
Hello.
network problem from your side.
Hello, good,
Okay,
Dr. Shekhar sir. Uh,
Sunny Paul, sir, please carry forward.
so I would like to thank you on behalf of our institute that you devoted your precious time for delivering such a wonderful and impactful lecture on the career prospects of defense sector after on defense sector after engineering. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing the time with us. So I thank you on behalf of my institute. Thank you very much, sir. Hello. Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Uh, yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. First,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
yeah, for sparing your time and just delivering the lecture for the on career prospects in engineering after career prospects in defense sector after engineering. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing your precious time with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, all the participants, this was Dr. Himanshu Shekhar with us on career prospects in defense after civil engineering or in any other stream. Well, I request all the participants to please fill the feedback form. The link is provided in the chat box. You can just click and put the password and fill the feedback form, and then you will be provided with e-certificates at the end of the series. Thank you so much, sir, once again. It was pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank Yes, sir.
Good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes. Bye, sir.